Welcome back to the Clay Studio Soil Painting Tutorial. I'm Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 26 of the large canvas painting Radha Krishna. We will just quickly go over as a recap what we have done so far. We have done layers 1 through 4 in all these classes, and right now we are working on layer 5. And with all these layers, what we have learned so far is that one can start from total basic level of filling in a color, just like the way a kid would fill in. A 3-year-old, a 4-year-old will fill in into a coloring worksheet. So we start from that level and move on to a level where we are able to create depth and dimensions. So we are now beautifying and working more and more towards bringing up the whole painting up into a level of perfection, if I may say so. But it is always a work in progress. Perfection is always a work in progress. And as you can already see from all these classes, if you have been following closely, you would have noticed that I make a lot of mistakes too, and I'm correcting, I forget things, and I say, okay, that's something I missed. So it's all part of the game. When you work on a large painting, it's always, being able to assess. So the key word being, as artists, we learn to work in details, but we should also step outside and take that long view perspective. Did we miss on proportions? Did we miss on some angles or so? Did we miss out on some element? So that is what is the difference between working in a smaller canvas versus the large canvas. And we have also touched upon it a little bit that those biggies that are sitting behind my bag, those are almost my height. This is a 80 by 60 centimeter canvas. It's not large, but it is not large enough. There are even really bigger ones that people work, and sometimes there are artists that are working on huge wall murals. So they're working on a wall or a huge platform as a canvas. So that requires that capacity of zooming in and zooming out whenever needed. With that note, I think let's move on to the next steps in the layer 5 of this canvas. Last class was more into the beautifying of Radha's clothing and so on. So we still have some more clothing area unfinished that we will work on today. One is definitely this cloth here that is on Krishna's body, and then the swing base is also covered in a cushion, so it's a cushion. So we want the cushion effect also to be made here. So that's one thing we need to work on. Once we are done with the clothing aspect, I think we are ready to move into the gold on the jewelry. So that's what we will try to do. Let's see how far we get on with that today in today's session. Vermilion last time, and I don't want to switch to any other color range. I would want to stick with the vermilion. The materials are almost the same, no bigger change in the materials. I have just washed the brushes. We are going to take a little bit of vermilion and maybe a little bit of permanent yellow or lemon yellow to blend with. We have our own good old burnt umber mixed with black for the darker tonalities and a titanium white to work on the lighter tonalities. So I'm just taking a bit of vermilion and yellow right here. So you see vermilion back there, and then I have a bit of lemon yellow also added. And I'm going to take brush number 1, blend them in. Not too much of yellow. I just want to see where I go with the color, and I would want to make the stop where I feel that it's a comfortable level of what do you call a creamy complexion of the saffron, if I may say so. That's my taste, so I'm just picking up on that, and I'm going to go back to the cloth, fill that in first, go on the contours, fill them in first, take a little bit of linseed oil if you need. In my case, I see minimal need. I'm just going for that. For the next level finish. Yeah. Yes. We have that. And right now, I think I'm going to plunge directly into this burnt umber mixed with black, darker tonality to work on the, darker shades right away in this, the swing of the cloth. Right. Just be careful when you come close to the body. We have worked a lot into that. We don't want to, smudge anything right now, or spoil anything. I think the blend looks good. I would add a little more of that color going in some places. Going back to that saffron color range again. It's looking so good. I'm going to touch a little bit of titanium white on the tip of the brush, not taking too much, and I will just use that in the space where I want the light to catch, or I feel the light is catching. This is the section. Blended it ever so lightly. So you begin to see that effect. I am adding a bit more of that yellow. Also in that area, I haven't mixed all of the lemon yellow, or the permanent yellow. I am blending that also in here as a surprise package. It's talking to me nicely here. I can see. Yes, this is good. I think the shades are coming good now. This is fair enough. I don't want to go into further details. I'm just blending the dark and the light nicely so it talks naturally. Okay, that is fair enough. That is coming to a close there. Let us work on swings base now. Just doing a last minute touch up onto the section. Yeah, I think we are ready for the swing space now. Yeah. Right. I just wanted that part to be slightly darker. Wasn't giving in at that time, so now it is. Yeah. Now the flow happens. Yes. Fair enough. Yeah, that's what I was missing. So now the flow happens and then the color comes out even nicely here. Good. I think I'm going to make a stop with that now and move on to the swings base. And for that, I think we will go on. What was the color base we tried to use? We wanted a green, but we tried to use a different green. We were experimenting with greens. I'm going to use the earth green only and try to build a cushion on that. Yeah. Okay. Or, yes, that's me going haywire with the colors. Yes, I'm beginning to see that there is a nice color coming up when I add the remaining vermilion, what we mixed, with lemon yellow. When I mix that with this earth green, I get this lovely tonality that is, that's looking like a rusted color, and that is a perfect color range for a cushion that we could build. Yeah, it looks like what do you call Mars red, or even darker than Mars red, or what we call not indigo. What do you call that? Indian red, terracotta, but it's even on the darker side. And I think this looks so good that we could experiment because we have done the green base. This is also a green. Okay. Moving the camera all the way down here on the clothing of the, yes, this is good. This is good. We can use this because it is completely different from the color tonalities, and it can shine through and help show a little bit of what is there in the older, what do you call, layers that we made. This is perfect. I'm just going to fill in first, and then we'll work on finesse details. So I'm just filling them in, and you can see that the old color is also shining through, coming through. So it isn't that, it's really overpowering and hiding the previous color. No, and that's what I wanted. So it combines and gives us another effect altogether. And this has the power to give us the effect of, what we want to show as a cushion. I've filled in the section. We can use this for the cushion, and also when we darken it, we can use it like a metal base on the swing, and that is, under the cushion. Okay, I'm going to move the camera again to this section so this is clear, but just be careful. I think I'm going to switch to brush 0 to be sure that I am not touching the contours of his foot. There's a lot going on here. I'm just going to do that. This contouring idea always helps when you're not sure. Especially in my case, I can see that, it's really very close, and I might make a mistake. So I might, spoil something. So I am careful here. I'm just drawing those contours just for my own safety. safety of the painting rather. Okay, I built those contours here. So this is clear for me. Now I can fill them in. Yes, this section is done. Let's do the corner. I did the contours already, so I'm trying my best to mix green in so many aspects. Green is a very strong color, you know. You want to use it directly. You need to be sure on the sections that you want to use it directly because you are just picking up attraction towards that section. Otherwise, it's also a good idea. It is a good idea to blend them in. So the green's root is always there in many places, but still, you know, it isn't so overpowering, yeah, in many ways. So right now, I'm going to take that ivory black or whatever burnt umber mixture to go over sections where, yeah, I want to show that depth. Okay. Darkness or whatever. So this is, it's going to turn into a lighter, nicer color when we add a bit of titanium white, which we'll do, isn't it? So we'll do shortly. So I am sticking to that ivory black mixed burnt umber. To move to this section, right close to her clothing, you want to be very careful because that's a beautiful crimson. We have done a lot to make sure that it looks perfect. I'm just not sure. Is that a part of the clothing? I'm just taking a little bit of the crimson in another brush to make sure that I'm doing those nice rims very close, up close, because it's a part of the clothing also. It's so close. So I want to be very sure that it's the cloth. This is the cloth, yeah. It's a very tiny profile. It's really hard to define. And then I'm now using my brush one to go with the ivory black burnt umber mixture to darken the spots where, you know, you see it's this place where you say she's seated, so you want to just create that shade that is created from her body. Blend that in. So we have blended in stuff nicely. Now I need to add a little bit of titanium white to do the final blending in all the areas. So I'm just making it go around, lightening up in some of the sections. Not too much of titanium white. You don't want it to get totally light. You want it to look blended. Radha. To check on the angles, the finesse. When you come close to those flowers, of course, we will work on the flowers again, so it's okay if you have, if you're concerned not to touch that. That is understandable. Make a fine work. Maybe you want to show it like they are horizontal, lines coming up, because that's exactly what we want to show when we do the cushion-like thing. So I am just blending them in, and if you see, I have wantedly blended a little more of white here, and then it is normal blending there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Blending in a bit of white. Keep the horizontal movement going. I know it is tough to work in this very, very small space, but keep that horizontal movement going. Right. Good. Fantastic. So this effect is helping, and now we want to make them look like cushions. How do you make them look like a cushion? Cushions have bumps, isn't it? So there is something tethered inside, a stitch that is pulling the cloth below. So you want to create that bump. How do we create that bump? We know a little bit from all the clothing. So once we use the white to bring out something, the other color goes down. So we use the dark to push something down. So we know that a bump is created like that. So what do? We play around. So just like the way we played around creating the patterns, we are going to create patterns that will show the bump. Can we play around? I haven't looked at the picture at all. Should I? It's got a lot of work. No, forget it. And actually, it is not visible so clearly also. I'm not going for the colored picture also. No, I'm going to create my own bumps. Okay. So I bring in that white layer. Like a pattern, I just create a flat V. Create a flat V like this. And it is slightly on the whitish side, so I'm just going to create that here. Create that here. Yeah. Remember, you don't want it to be too white when you go to the, yes. You want it to blend with the black. I want to make a triangular angle here and then do the bump again. Here as well. One more here. Another goes like a triangle here. Another here. Yes. Another bump here. Yeah. These are bumps coming out. Do we do the bumps again on the other side? Parallel lines. So I'm just drawing a parallel line and thinking, okay, I want to put one here. One more here. Another parallel line drawn. It goes somewhere over here, so it doesn't show up fully. Doesn't show up fully, maybe one comes here. And then we do one more here. One shows up, a little shows up here. Yes, not too much. So that is about the bump. And what do we do with it? Darkening? Yes, the ivory black will help you. I'm going to take the ivory black and go around these bumps. On the top of the bump, I want to create the dot. Just create the dot. This is a little too dark, so I'm just blending it in. This one came out strong. Okay. Are we done here? Looks like we have the darkness in the bump taken care of. So we have a pattern done. Now I take a bit more of titanium white and create a layer of the bend on the cloth. Yes, the velvety bend on the cloth will create that layer that is, being folded on top of a metal or something. So I'm just creating that. It won't be visible too much here, so I'm just and now let's work a little bit on those bumps. You can use a micro brush if you want, and titanium white mixed with any lighter color like crimson or vermilion or anything. Doesn't matter, anything very light, but it's not purely titanium white. I'm just wanting to use that to go around the bump and pull it around that black layer. So you see, it's a tiny effect that I'm making. So the black layer, looks like something is immersed, and then, things are coming out of it. The black dot, rather. And be very careful. You want it to be darker on this side and lighter on this side. So you can actually take a bit more of titanium white, so it shows the difference here. This one, and let's do this on this section as well. Okay. And remember, the angle of the swing is also slightly slanted. It's the weight that is, pulling. So you want it to be slightly slanted. Overall, it looks like that, and keep that in mind. Okay, I have pulled out. Taking a bit more of that white and suggestive cushion effect created. Yes, it looks okay. What do we do with the metal? That's something we can work on. We have given it the metal effect. You know what? The rust color that we created, the color that we used to build on this, if we go on with that one more layer on top of this black, it gives a nice finish to this black. give a nice finish to that metal. Yeah, good. I think they have also loaded with gold or something in the picture, but I am going to go with this natural thing. Nice cushiony seat that we have made. We can get started with the gold on the clothing in this session, but let's see how far we reach with that. Gold, I think we haven't seen that color before in all of these classes. I am going to show that to you. So what I have is called light gold, and you can have gold color itself available in oil paints. But remember, if you haven't had a gold and haven't worked with gold at all before, the yellow ochre can actually turn into the gold. All these Renaissance, beautiful Renaissance painting, good old paintings have used yellow ochre to suggest gold ornaments worn in by the characters. So it is never a necessity to work with gold. I am going to use gold. I have it, it's okay. If you don't have it also, you can still blend in. Can you see that it is a silky consistency? So it can be built in by carefully mixing titanium white, soft mixing white with yellow ochre and brought close to that consistency. Yes. So I'm now going to take a bit of this gold and start doing those layers of clothing first. So we're not going into the gold jewelry, we are going into the gold or the silk in the cloth. So those are two elements. I'm just starting with Radha's section. So filling it in with this gold. And we have done the light and darker tonality in this clothing, so it's going to help in any ways. I'm just going ahead and filling the section with gold. A blouse has a border that's also gold. I'm going to work on that. I'm doing that. Yes. A sari comes down, falls down nicely here. And the lighter sections, darker sections. Gold is also a translucent color, so you'll see that when you fill it in, it'll still show the previous layer. So if it is dark, it is dark. If it is light, it is light. So it's in that manner, it is easier to work with. I'm doing the gold on her sari's border, going down here. I don't know about the brand that you are using. I have seen different bands of gold take different time lengths to dry. So this gold really changes the ball game of waiting for the painting to dry before you want to hand it over to your customer, client, and so on. So just be aware of that. My first ever experience with a brand, working on this gold was, with a delivery deadline coming up close, and then I figure out that the painting is fully done, but I couldn't pack and send it over because the gold wasn't dry, and it took more than a month. You must ask, okay, so now you're filling it. Is this going to take more than a month? This kind of filling that I'm making, this might take a couple of weeks, but we will be loading gold on the jewelry. Loading means you have seen how we loaded the garland here. So we are going to load. And when we do that, it's going to be tough. That's going to take a while to dry. So until such time, it needs to be maintained carefully. I want to use this gold in here. See, the saree's border is ending here, and it has to come mixed up with the red here and the side. It's visible to a certain extent. I want to use the tissue paper to wipe off because it's taking a lot of that pink or the crimson from her cloth. Loading a little bit more of the gold. Sorry, loading a little bit more of the gold here. You get to see the inner side of the cloth. That's why I want to show that. And sometimes this gold doesn't show much as gold, and it looks like it is yellow ochre, and that's what I said. We can still work with yellow ochre, but the difference is that once it is dry, it starts shining through in some places, in all these places that we have put gold. So that makes the difference that this is actually gold. So I have gone through her costume, the top of it. I think we need to go down to the flare, the flow of her skirt. Fill that in with gold. So I'm not worrying too much about the shades because the gold is actually playing in over the color range. Just continuing to fill it in properly. So I'm coming close to the curves that are, the flares, the curves underneath. So I'm going to move the canvas a tad bit up so it is helping you to see better. When you're moving up and down these curves, you might pick up the color, the crimson there, burnt umber, depends on what you have still lying out there that isn't dry. So keep the tissue close by so you're able to wipe through and keep a balance. And keep that angle going. So though it's a filling, yeah, contours are important. So keep that angle going. Nice. This is coming here. Then we have this nice angle, this curve, the shade. Good. So we take this down further. Some more of the gold. Coming down here close to her foot. For those using gold, you might already notice that, it's really hard to see through where you have completed. So just keep an eye on where we have finished, because everything looks similar, and it'll actually a couple of days later you will start to see where you have missed when you are filling like this, because it looks like yellow ochre and such. That is also why I insisted on doing the yellow ochre base. So the gold is, standing right there, perfectly done on top of it. And if there is a miss also, it compensates in some way with that yellow ochre base that we did. But, we tried our best to fill that in. So we have managed her clothing. Let's do the same on his clothing as well. Since we are here, let's do his clothing. Has this gold base. And I'm going to go slightly up here for the gold base on his clothing here. Yes. And then we need a bit more of the gold. At least I do. So I'm going to take a little more of the gold and go for, remember I said there is this, golden border to the clothing that he is wearing here. So it's a really minor space, but there is one. If you're getting the green or vermilion or the lemon yellow coming out, be careful with that. Now I go on to this edge, the rim of it. This one has the gold. I wanted to do that. Yeah. Okay, and then let's look at the clothing level. Do we miss gold in any other place? There is one more, even though it isn't there. So there is one more here on this saffron that we did. We need to have this border done ever so lightly in gold. One thin finish on this clothing is needed. Gold. If it blends with if it blends with the vermilion and such, the black or such, use the tissues, wipe it off and try one more time. It should work. Okay. Since we did the gold, I want to do one more thing with the gold. Because we are any which way is going to work on the ornaments, I'm just going to fill in this section where we did her belt. I think we did it really to the last, isn't it? So I'm going to fill that in properly with gold. So this is the gold loading I was talking about. So I'm going to load it with gold. You see that it's loaded with gold now, huh? You can see this texture the way I am doing this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I have loaded this with gold now. So it's physically, you can see that it's coming out. The way I have loaded it, it's coming out. From the body of the canvas. Yeah. So that's done. Okay, that's the gold in the clothing that we did. I'm just going to load a little bit more of this gold on the hip belt. So this belt alone will show you the technique that I am usually following if I'm not doing this kind of detail at all. So I would rather load as much gold as possible and wait, and then I will load these, other colors into them. Yeah, so this is another way that I would do. So this is going to help us see that other method as well. So that is about it for today's session. So today's session was going into the remaining clothing, that is, the cloth on his shoulder, Krishna's shoulder, and also making that cushion was a little bit of a challenge, isn't it? So we did that. Cushion seat on the swing, we did that, and we have worked on the clothing again, but this time we have done the gold lining, or what do you call it? This gold is going to look like the silk in the cloth. Yeah, so that's what we have done in both the cloths that they are wearing, all the cloth that they are wearing. So we have finished that. The next session is going to be a bit more onto the gold again, into the ornaments, detailing into the ornaments and working on the ornaments as much as possible, giving them that 3D effect as much as possible. Again, it's minute details that we might have to work with, so it's going to take some time for us. And then we will work on the flowers, maybe, and let's see how far we go with it. I think it could be possible that we take one session fully for the gold itself. To come back to the logic of gold, like I said, if you do not have the gold color as such and would like to mix something, you will want to mix a bit of titanium white and yellow ochre, maybe a little bit of lemon yellow as well, to give that shine. So it's that combination that might give you the shine, so you can still achieve the gold kind of look without the gold as such. Yeah. So it's up to you to choose how you want to work with. That is it. And I think we have completed class number 26. Congratulations on reaching this far. And like I always say, share your comments, your worries, your feedback, your questions with us. Also, remember to share your pictures as well. Feel free to write to me if you have any specific questions that can be handled. Of course, the questions I will try to respond with as much content answers as possible to help you. But if you think it's not going anywhere, if you're really off the grid and need help in terms of a video conversation, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd support at the glastudio.tk. Then let's take it forward with a Zoom call or such. Yes, stay happy, stay blessed. Congratulations again on reaching this far. Let's meet in the next class. Bye-bye.